Welcome to Voice Rising with Johnstad. Enjoy weekly conversations with leading luminaries, pioneering visionaries, singers, poets, musicians, and sound healers as we explore the profound role our voice plays on the path to self-realization and global enlightenment. The internationally acclaimed singer, composer, author, healer, recording artist, voice expert, creator of Voice Your Essence, and founder of the School of Voice, Johnstad uses her extraordinary spiritual gifts to empower others. Everything in this world vibrates. Everything has a frequency. A pioneer in the field of voice work and transformational songwriting. Her breakthrough methods are helping thousands of people worldwide fine-tune their body-mind-spirit system and unlock the energetic frequencies of limitless creativity, health, and abundance. Share your voice, ask your questions, join in the conversation. Receive life-changing, positive transformation and rise together to create a sound world. And here's your host, Johnstad.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Voice Rising. Today it is all about helping our kids relax into their big emotions. We all come to this earth with a big, mighty roar, and the younger we are, the easier it is to express our feelings. Yet what happens in our childhood? What happens when we start feeling stuck, when we end up getting stressed? With me today is the founder of Relax Kids Ltd, author of 11 books, and UK's leading expert on children's relaxation, Marneta Viegas. Welcome, Marneta, to the show.
Thank you, Cara. Thank you very much for having me.
It's a delight. It's a delight to have you here. I have your new book in my hand. You came from a background in the performing arts, and now you are considered the expert in helping our kids relax. Share a little bit about that journey. What brought you from working as, I believe, a clown and a pantomime and producing for kids and ending up with this passion to help kids deal with their stress?
Yeah. So, early 90s, I left uni and set up a children's entertainment business as a clown. And then over 8-10 years of performing at parties, I noticed a change in children's behavior, and I couldn't understand what was going on. They weren't sitting still, they weren't listening, their concentration wasn't as good, so there was definitely a deterioration. And so I thought, well, I think I'm going to try some meditation, because I had practiced meditation since I was 12. I was introduced by my mother in 1980. And so I thought, well, I'm going to bring some meditation into my class, my parties, to try and calm them down. And it worked beautifully when I brought meditation stories that I'd create on the spot. And I thought, there's something in this. And so I had this idea to write my first book using fairy stories and meditation, because the idea of introducing meditation to children 22 years ago was a strange one. I remember being laughed at as a child for meditating, and it was still strange around the millennium. Now it's become part of our culture. It's not strange, but at that time it was odd, and I needed to find a way to get parents to feel that it was acceptable for children to meditate, and parents to and for children to feel that it was really accessible. And so this idea of the fairy stories really worked. My first book was Aladdin's Magic Carpet, where I took them on a magical adventure where they were the protagonist, and it just seemed to work. And then I had some children round to my flat around the same sort of time, friends' children, and I started teaching them relaxation techniques. And then over the months, weeks, I started to develop this 7-step system to teaching children to relax. And this is an interesting one, because at the time I created these 7 steps, and then it's move, play, stretch, breathe, feel, believe relax. So it's moving from their bodies up to their hearts and then into their heads so they can lie down on the floor. And 3 years after creating the system, I was up in the air, I was flying somewhere, and I thought I had just bought a book on the chakras. I didn't not know about the chakras at the time when I had created the system, and I thought, this system follows the chakras. This is amazing, and this is why it works, because we're working through children's natural energy system. So the whole thing of Relax Kids, it really started as a bit of a fluke, and I sort of fell into it all very naturally. That's how it happened. I didn't go about to set up, I'm going to create an international company that's going to help children all over the world. I just wanted to help a few children in the parties and give myself an easier time, really, because it was hard work when they weren't listening. So that's how it started. Yeah.
Of course. I mean, I am curious as a voice expert. It seems like, meditation for me is really allowing ourselves to quiet so we can also hear our inner voice, right? So our own authentic, vibration or our inner voice, and start tuning to that inner voice. And like I said in the introduction, we all of us, whether we're still kids or adults, or we come with a really connected voice. We come with a very strong voice channel, and we come with a deep connection that all of our emotions are okay, whether we're giggling and laughing or crying or screaming or hungry or stomping, or that we're okay. And in those first years, we're, of course, really, I always say that we have so much power because we just have to go, and then suddenly, 3 people come running if we're lucky,
Amazing.
right? But where does it shift for you? Now, you've worked with kids for a long time, because I'm always curious about this. By the time they come to me, a lot of them are like, I can't sing, I can't, I don't know, and I feel stuck, right? And when even the kids, often they're embarrassed to share their stories, they're embarrassed to make up their own stories. We used to make up a lot of stories where I come from Wisconsin, and so when we had thunderstorms, the lights, we'd lose the electricity, and we'd be sitting there in the dark with a candle, and somebody would have to make up a story, right?
Amazing.
And this talent to use our voice connected with our imagination and our minds and our hearts, it seems like we're losing this. Do you think it's coming from, the first moment where the mom says, here's spinach, eat it, and we say no, and then she's like, well, then go hungry, and we start losing our connection to what's right or wrong? Or do you think it's an bombardment from so many other voices on the television, or what is your experience?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the two, of hearing something. It's like, I know for myself, just hearing a couple of comments that maybe our primary caregivers didn't mean, my mother or father or teacher didn't mean to say, oh, don't be so silly, or don't be so stupid, oh, you'll never be a doctor, something like that, and you haven't got the brains for that, your sister's much better. Something little that's a throwaway comment can go so deep. I remember, this is a silly story, but it just showed to me the power of children's minds. I remember at one of the parties we were doing something about, I can't remember what it was, but there was a little boy and he wasn't behaving or something, and I made a little joke about, I'm going to turn you into a bunny with my magic wand, and I can see your bunny ears sprouting, and his hands went to the top of his head, and he was in sheer panic because that had been, and I felt absolutely dreadful, and at that moment I realized the power of adults' words on children, because he truly, in that moment, believed because I obviously had a lot of power as he was seeing me as looking up to me, literally. He was on the floor, I was standing, and I was very lovely with it, but I wasn't nasty at all. So it didn't come with an emotion, but on top of that, when it does come with a strong emotion or an intent of frustration from the adult, which we all have when we're in a state, then it really goes deep. And so I think that's the one. So it's listening to, and children are like sponges. They're picking up all the time, whether the actual words or the intention just by body language. And then also I think, if you think about our culture, it's all about perfection. So unless you are the best, or unless you look the best, or you look the most beautiful, you're not living up to that thing. So why try singing if you're not going to be the best? And there's this in-between bit that that in-between, you've put in so many hours into your singing. I put in so many hours into my writing or my creative pursuits. And so we've got that time where we weren't very good to start with, and then we grow to become good at something. Right. But it's almost like we've got to jump to the end. And I think that is quite off-putting for children. So it's like, oh, what's the point in starting? Everybody just wants to get to that, the stardom without the work.
I was saying this the other day on an interview. It used to be once upon a time, and then we went into the story, and then at the end there was always, and they lived happily ever after. And stories resolved. That means that we ourselves came to a peaceful place at the end of the story.
Yes.
Right? And this is also what happens in music. Music, we start in a key, and to 99%, it's going to end in the key, and it's going to not be dissonant at the end of a song, right?
No.
So we're seeking harmony and coherency.
Yeah, right? I mean, even with a big Wagner opera, and it sounds and it just goes on, and the notes are really sort of jarring, but then there is rest. And you're absolutely right. We're looking for that, and we're not getting that.
There's rest, but this, because we know that if people are glued to the next series or the next book, now more and more books are not ending with "and they lived happily ever after," right? The more and more books are ending with "and he fell into the ocean and there was a shark." The end, right?
Well, everything is set up. No. But it comes back to financials, doesn't it? Because everything is set up for series 2.
Yeah, exactly.
With the possibility of making more money.
Exactly. Yeah. So your new book is called The Monster Handbook, a toolkit of strategies and exercises to help children manage big feelings. You work with giving monster names to emotions, really emotions that are not easy to give names to: anxiety, shame, fear, panic, worry, anger, frustration, sadness. And I want us to, why is it so important to identify different feelings and name them instead of just saying, I'm having an awful day?
Yeah. I think because our feelings move all the time through us. And I think it's really important for children to feel that this too shall pass. I'm feeling angry at the moment, and then I may feel sad, and then I'll feel this and that. But also, I feel that there are so many nuances to emotions. It's not black and white. And so this book, giving every emotion, or 14 of the main ones, I could have gone on and done the other emotions, but I wanted to stick with the main 14 and give them a monster image and the idea of making friends with their monster rather than something that they have to run away from. And because I think that's, if we can catch children while they're young and allow them to, one, identify their emotions and then be able to express them, be able to talk about them, then, and also be able to feel them, then they will not be running to the things that we as adults have had to run towards, whether it's shopping, drinking, food, etc., to cover up our emotions in that we don't feel so nice, and so, oh, let me just eat something, or let me just take a drink to cover up this feeling, because we haven't had this emotional intelligence. And what's so amazing in this world is that we're bringing children up with where emotional intelligence is becoming the thing. It's fine to talk about our feelings, whereas when I was a child, everything had to be locked away in the cupboard, and you couldn't really. It wasn't good to be angry. You just had to deal with it. And then what do you do with that? Yeah,
you suck it up. Right.
Absolutely. Especially boys, I think it's so important that they can really identify. And, if children can go, oh, and then also talking with their parents, oh, yeah, mummy's having, the anger monsters, oh, that was the anger monster, and talk about it afterwards in that sort of way. And then it's normalizing emotions, because children will see that their parents are going through emotions, and they're learning as well by watching.
Yeah, and if the kids are able to find ways to breathe through certain emotions like frustration, then of course the parents stay more relaxed. So it's a win for all, right? It's
a win and a cycle. It's a circular thing, because you've got. Because it's the way our nervous systems work, and the nervous systems are talking to each other. And so if the parent is getting stressed, then the child will get stressed. If the parent can learn to relax, the child can learn to relax. And so the book really is just full of different tools and techniques that parents can have in that toolkit when there's an SOS moment. But also working on those emotions before the SOS moment, before the emergency, because it's really important. So it's almost being prepared, so you know what to do. You take a first aid course, so you know what to do in the moment. You don't want to be learning when you're seeing red what I've got to do, because you can't do anything. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
It's practicing.
It's a practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
And
Marneta,
so many
we're going to take, no, I was going to say we're going to take a very, very short break, and then we'll be back and deepen our knowledge about how we can help our kids relax.
The cutting edge of conscious radio. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organisation, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at omtimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
With happy clients all over the world, Cara Johnstad knows that your voice is the missing link to more authenticity, abundance, creativity, and health. An internationally acclaimed voice expert, Cara's breakthrough methods have helped thousands of people successfully heal their voice wounds and extinguish the story of self-doubt and shyness forever. Join in group trainings, attend online sessions, schedule one-on-one time, and invite Cara to work with your organization and community. Get started today. Go to www.carajohnstad.com and receive a special guided meditation designed to fine-tune your inner voice and welcome you on the voice journey.
This is Kathy Beal, host of Celestial Compass, featuring astrology you can use. Celestial Compass points you to what's going on in the sky and what you can do with it down here on Earth. We also explore fun, effective, and cosmic tools for navigating this adventure we call life. Join me the first and third Monday of the month at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for Celestial Compass. It's enlightening, entertaining, and empowering.
Coping-19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
If you're feeling increasingly lonely right now, you're not alone. It's totally normal. Even though we may not be able to get together in person, connecting virtually with friends and family still gives you a chance to interact with people and may help raise your spirits. Join a virtual book club, set up group text chats, or online video coffee breaks with coworkers.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Welcome back to Voice Rising. I am your host, Cara Johnstad, and with me today is the founder of Relax Kids Ltd, author of 11 books, and UK's leading expert on children's relaxation, Marneta Viegas. So, Marneta, we had just left off with this insight that what's so important is the practice of meditation or the practice of breath work. And I couldn't agree with you more. Sometimes we only want to grab these tools when we're having a bad day. But if we actually find ways to tune into our creativity and our expression and our meditation when we're feeling wonderful also, then we can get a better sense of the harmony that we're seeking, right? And so I think that is so important because often, even in the new book, I sense that these 14 emotions are so important, and yet we also have the emotion of joy and bliss and delight, and often these emotions are also suppressed. People don't believe me when I say this, but if you're laughing really loudly in a beautiful restaurant, people will start looking at you with a very stern look, right? If you're squealing with delight and racing your car happily over the dinner table, these are what we consider positive. So what is your take on this whole positive and negative emotions? Because I've been trying to, as an adult now, see it as energy and just see it as shades or sensations, right? And I think that the practice of meditation or the practice of movement, it helps us to, in those good days also, to deepen the practice.
Yeah, I've never, that's a lovely idea of seeing them as shapes. Yes, definitely colours. I've never thought about the shapes, so I'm going to definitely think about that. The way for me, the positive emotions, I see that we all came, the true things that are inherent in us are this feeling of love, peace and happiness, and power, inner sense of power. And those are the things that I feel that we crave so much. And if you think of any advertising for a thing, it will underlying be selling one of those feelings, whether it's you want love from someone else, or you want a shampoo that makes you feel beautiful, hence be loved, or a car to feel powerful, or pretty much anything. And so if we can, and this is a beautiful thing I always say to my coaches that I train to teach children's classes, I say that it's that children have everything they need with just their bodies and their minds. It's all there. Love, peace, power. And so allowing them to access those beautiful qualities, and you don't need the car, you don't need the things that we think we need, and then why are we not happy now we've got this big house? Why are we not happy now we've got these amazing clothes or whatever? Because we haven't found those things. There's a beautiful Indian story of the princess who was searching for her necklace, and she looked everywhere for it, and then it's like with the glasses, someone pointed out it's round your neck, and it's the same it's the same with us, peace, where is it? It is not out there. Yes, you can find it when you go to a mountainside and it's lovely, but you can also be in a very peaceless state in the most beautiful paradise place.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's always about looking inside and, accessing those beautiful feelings and emotions inside.
Wherever we are. Besides books, you're also producing audios, you're producing guided visualizations and meditations. And I would like to play for our listening audience, give them a little taste of one of them. It's called Feel Calm. Do you want to say a little bit about this track, or should we just dive right in?
Let's just go straight into it. Just maybe if they're able to just sit down and take it easy and take a breath and just feel into it.
Beautiful, beautiful. So this is Feel Calm, and here we go.
Close your eyes and be very still. You are very quiet and calm and relaxed. Now just imagine that your body is so relaxed that you feel as if you're slowly sinking into the ground. Let your feet become heavy and relaxed and feel them slowly sinking downwards. Feel the muscles in your feet uncurling and unwinding. Down, down, down they go as they become heavier and heavier. Just let them go and relax. Now, let your legs become heavy and sink downwards. Feel the long muscles in your legs softening. Relax your ankles, calves, shins, backs of your knees, and thighs. As you relax and sink, the muscles slacken and become loose. Relax, relax, relax. Keep breathing deeply as you relax the lower part of the spine. Feel your lower spine sinking deeply into the ground. Now, continue this feeling of relaxation as you allow the middle and top parts of your back to let go and sink into the ground. Let your neck go. Relax, relax, relax. Your arms feel heavy and are sinking. Feel the muscles in your arms relax as you sink. Relax, relax, let go. Your head is heavy and relaxes deeply. Feel your eyes becoming...
And that was a track from Marneta Viegas, who's with me today in studio, called Feel Calm. And what I love about that track so much, Marneta, is what we call nowadays almost, grounding or earthing, right? There's so many people that are disconnected from the earth, and so the whole meditation with the feet in the beginning, it's like we're arriving, and then we're connecting to our body, which is also, maybe kids are doing that more and more, but when I grew up, it was also kind of like you had to function. Nobody was talking about, breathe deeply. So that brings me to breath. What do breathing patterns or breathing have to do with shifting through these different emotional states?
Okay, so I'm going to say from the beginning, one thing about the way I've worked through for the last 22 years is I have never come from the theoretical side. So, and later I know I've just come purely from the practical of what has felt good for me, and then noticing the change in the children. But I know there now is so much research and theory around the breath and the body and the nervous system and the vagus nerve. But please forgive me for not being able to tell you any of that, because my brain just can't hold it in, because I'm just all about what feels right and what feels good.
Beautiful. We need more intuitives, and I know as a kid, my mom, she would say, like, if we were angry, or count to 10, or hold your breath, or these kinds of things, right? These little. And I also know that when we were really scared, like we had to go to the basement and get the potatoes or something, and we'd always be asked to whistle. Now, whistling is something that's gone out of fashion, but when it was really dark and we were really afraid, and I think it's interesting because when you whistle, of course, you exhale for a long time, right? So in America, we were and whistling, we would hear people on their bikes or hanging wash, people would be humming and whistling. And because there's such a long exhalation, people do naturally probably relax with their tedious work that they have to get done, right? I mean, either you're scared going into a basement, or you have to wash your dishes, right? Nowadays, you have your music being played for you, but in those days, when you made your own music, you were, even when we're talking here, we're exhaling longer than we're inhaling, and we can relax.
And it definitely has that long exhale is the key to calming the nervous system. Whereas when we're in a fright state, we go, oh. So taking the breath in is like the exciting bit, exciting the nervous system, and then breathing out. And I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking, well, I'm not a smoker, but I'm wondering why that's so appealing, because is it the deep breathing of the smoke going in and then that's actually doing the relaxing?
And I think it's or at least the people that I know that have smoked, it's the permission to take time by yourself to breathe deeply. And I've often said this to people, when I used to be a dancer, right, and I was dancing and doing theater, if somebody would say, I need to go have a smoke, it was totally fine. People understood. They're going to be gone for 10 minutes in the evening air and doing their deep breathing, right? If I said in the middle of a rehearsal, excuse me, I need 10 minutes to go, to look breathe. At the trees and to breathe, they would say, you do not. You get back out here on stage. Otherwise, you're fired, right? So smoking is a great excuse, right?
It's true. Because you've just reminded me of a little story. I was having a driving test. It was 20 years ago, and I had to reverse, and I had just got into such a state previously with my driving instructor, I just couldn't do the reverse parking. I did not understand it. So in the driving exam, I had to do this reverse park, and I just said, just a second, could I have a minute to meditate? And he looked at me. I said, I really need this. and so I just did my deep breathing, and I'm not joking. Then I did it, and he was
nice.
So it really does work. And if we have the permission, and wouldn't it be lovely if we were in a culture where, and I think it's becoming a lot more, look at Google, look at Oprah, all these big organizations, they've made mindfulness and relaxing and taking time out part of the culture, and we absolutely need more of it. Schools need more of this.
Yes.
And it's great now, schools have got little calm corners, and our Relax Kids coaches have got little boxes that they give they make up for schools, and children have something to fiddle or something to look at, and they know what to do. Oh, it just reminded me of a little boy who had real problem in school with his anger, and we were working with him and gave him a feather. And now in school, well, this is a few years ago, every time he felt his anger coming on, he would pick up his feather and he would blow on that feather, and it stopped his anger getting to a point of blowing. So it's just small
blowing up,
things.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of blowing up,
Blowing out
again
instead of
with
blowing
the
up.
Again, working with that exhale. It's fascinating. I've always been curious. This is not on the topic of kids, but I've always been curious why we use the word mindfulness while so much of meditation is emptying and creating space. That's always been interesting for me. I'm like, I thought we're not supposed to have a full mind. I thought the monkey mind is supposed to be out the window, right? So the only way I can understand it is maybe we can use that to think of all the imaginations and the intentions and the affirmations. It's
one of the books I was going to write was going to be called Mindfulness, but
that's a good one.
That never materialized.
Can still happen, right?
Could do,
it can still, or heartfulness, right?
Yes, heartfulness.
Heartfulness. I'm going to give you this thought before we take the break. I think it's very interesting as a singer that the word tone, which is also at one, a tone, that the root of the word is the same root of tension. And the reason that is because long ago, they knew, and we still know with guitars, that if you take a string and you stretch it, and then you even divide it, you get different tones, right? So it has to do with tension and tendons. And I was just curious because, again, these music, I guess I'm coming from music. Do you work also with not only the quiet time and the breath, but also, and movement? You talked about movement. Do you work also with chants or with, affirmations is a type of voice work, but do you work with toning and chanting?
Singing, and yes, we do some chanting, more humming, which would be part of the breath. Yeah, we do that.
Beautiful. Okay, we're going to take one last short break, and then we're going to be back with Marneta Viegas and talk more about how we can support our kids to deeply relax.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. ascendinghearts.com.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
The United States has the highest rate of incarceration in the world. At the Equal Justice Initiative, we believe mass incarceration has to end. There is this presumption of dangerousness and guilt that gets assigned to Black and brown people. We have to confront our history of racial injustice and commit to a new era of truth. There's something better waiting for us, something that feels more like freedom. Truth can inspire change. Please learn more at eji.org.
Welcome back to Voice Rising. I am your host, Cara Johnstad, and today in studio with me is Marneta Viegas. And Marneta, you just said before we went into the break, you were like, we do a lot of humming. And that reminded me of this amazing interview I gave with a guy named John Beaulieu, and he's a psychiatrist, but also a sound healer. And he worked in Bellevue and was at Bellevue Hospital in New York. And he was saying that a lot of the people that came were, of course, humming and rocking, right? And they, at that time, were giving them a lot of medication. And he, of course, as someone coming from music and sound healing, said, let them hum. And 70% of the schizophrenia was healed or went away through humming, only through humming. I thought that is so magical that our bodies naturally, whether we're moving or stretching, which is so hard for the kids, even for adults, sitting in our chairs all day, but this kind of moving and stretching and giggling, and we have a natural way to balance, right?
We do. I mean, even if you think about the rocking, we rock a child. Now, the rocking movement calms the nervous system down, and, you know, just rocking backwards and forwards is just so calming. Yeah. Oh no, are you okay?
Wait a minute, mute myself. Talk a little bit.
Yeah, I'll just carry on talking. Yeah, so rocking is great, humming, and I think I seem to remember one of the monsters. I'm sure I've brought in a humming a tool for helping one of the monsters. I can't remember which one it is, but yeah, definitely. Because I don't know whether, as you mentioned the singing, I thought, oh yeah, my background is singing. I originally wanted to be an opera singer. Can you believe that? Yes. When I was a teenager, and yeah, I studied, did my degree in singing. So I've got a major in singing. Amazing. And so, yeah, definitely bringing all the humming. And what I did was I brought in all the exercises that I picked up from university, from college, all the dance, the movement, the singing, the breathing, the diaphragm, and brought this into the techniques that I use with the children, mixed with the meditation that I picked up from when I was a child. Yeah. Beautiful.
So I am actually at the tail end of COVID, so whatever happened there was a little cough, so I apologize. Let's go into listening to the track Quiet Spaces, which will give us time to listen to your work and also give me time to take a deep breath. Yeah. That's what we do, yeah? Okay, thank
Lovely. Yeah, let's listen to Guardian Angel.
Okay, Guardian Angel.
Close your eyes, be very still, and imagine that an angel with pure white feathery wings comes down to meet you. Did you know that everyone has their own personal angel to guide and protect them? This is your guardian angel, who looks after you and loves you deeply. You feel very safe being close to your angel. The angel doesn't need to speak, as he or she can hear your thoughts. Look deeply into the angel's eyes and talk to your angel with your mind. Maybe there is a particular problem you would like to talk about. Maybe you are worried or upset or cross for some reason, and no one seems to listen to you. Your own special angel is very understanding, and so tell your angel everything. Spend some time talking to your angel. Now, when you have finished telling your angel what is on your mind, stay very still and watch the angel smile and put his or her wings around you. You are surrounded by the softest, feathery angel wings.
Oh, that was Guardian Angel with Marneta's beautiful voice. And, you know, that is the magical work of relaxation, of meditation, because we were having a beautiful conversation. And then, yes, I'm at the tail end of COVID. And, you know, and then suddenly the cough comes. And your voice and that music gave me the opportunity to do some pressure points, to, you know, to do the lung meridians, to take some deep breaths, and to, again, calm the nervous system. And it just shows us what I love about this work is, you know, our bodies are our instruments, and we are all connected to each other. Yeah. And what I love about this work, whether it's for kids or for moms or for adults, is that we learn to empower ourselves.
Yeah. And that just reminds me, actually, alongside the monster book, I think I brought 4 books out at the same time. And the other one is Press Here, which is 35 different buttons in the body. So, and the way I explain it to the children is like we're a robot and we've got all these different buttons, and there's a button for everything. And so they're very simple pressure points for courage, for confidence, for anxiety, for all the things, for these. So that book goes beautifully with the monster book. I hadn't actually made the connection before, but, you know, with your story of just now, I thought, that they work really well. Yeah.
They work very well. I use them also with singers, with stage fright, with, again, just, you know, and of course, sometimes we're not as exposed as I just was now, but it's so important for us to know, again, and what you said in the beginning of the show, I really cherish, because I meditate also, you know, I'm sure 2 hours a day. It's the practice. It's the daily getting to know ourselves, our emotions, our bodies, our pressure points, the connection with the food that we eat, right? The kindness that we can give to strangers, just this awareness that we can create harmony, the way we work, the way we give, right? Yeah. And talk a little bit before we close about, I thought that was a beautiful track, Guardian Angel. Why is it so important for kids? I think it's really important for kids and maybe also for adults, but to realize that we have people in our lives that can support us and guide us in the physical plane, but also in the spirit world that we can call on, that we're not so alone. Well, I used to say to my daughter when she went to a math exam, I said, think of Einstein, or ask Einstein, you know, connect with different layers, multidimensional layers. Why does knowing that we have a guardian angel sometimes really help us relax when we're dealing with loneliness or dealing with...
I think sometimes when we adults, children, teenagers, when our life becomes very small and enclosed and we just see ourselves and our problems and we're just here, then we can feel very alone. Whereas if we just open up and see that yes, we've got the people around us that care, but there is another dimension like the guardian angel. I mean, I never really, when I wrote that, I didn't necessarily think in terms, I was coming from more of a magical, Christmassy type feel rather than the whole spiritual dimension. I think the spiritual dimension really was not an afterthought. It wasn't like I'm trying to push on a spiritual thing to children, because I think everyone has their own belief system, and that's why Relax Kids works so well with children of all religions, because it's not a particular religion, but it's just like being aware that there's something bigger than ourselves, whatever that is. And then it does, it helps your nervous system relax, and you just feel, oh, okay, I'm safe. My feet are on the ground. There's something up there. I am being looked after. And when I get that for myself, I feel better. And the guardian angel is a particularly lovely one, and we often bring it out when there has been some sort of natural disaster. We like in Christchurch, we made it available for people to listen to when there were the earthquakes, beginning of coronavirus, just for children to feel safe, because feeling safe and secure is so important for that nervous system, so they can relax. It's the key, really, isn't it?
It's a key. And I think, I was just going to say, when kids are really little, we understand that. And we create also in the play schools little reading corners and everything. And that is the interesting thing. Maybe that's what, when I was talking in the beginning about voice, like when do we start losing this ability to relax? Because I, as a mother, saw my girl, it was a top school, it was an international school, but there were lockers in the hallways, there was linoleum floors, there was fluorescent lighting, there was nothing really natural in that school. And then we're walking in all these plastic shoes and up concrete stairways, and it's hard. It's really hard.
We're not grounded. Our feet are not grounded on the earth.
And often we have 7-8 subjects, or the kids have 7-8 subjects when I'm talking about older kids, but they have 7 or 8 subjects. They're switching between biology and Spanish and English and social studies and learning about the history, which is not always pleasant. And they have 2 to 5 minutes in between each class to totally shift the subjects. It's not easy being a kid, right?
No, absolutely not. And it reminds me beautifully of my cousin was babysitting these 2 children. One was a baby, and the other, she must have just been able to talk. And my cousin overheard the toddler, or the maybe 3-year-old, whisper to the baby. This is amazing. She goes, "Quick, tell me, remind me, I'm beginning to forget." You just think, oh my goodness, yes, I know. I'm beginning to forget. Like, what is she forgetting? What did we know when we were little that we have forgotten? Amazing. I mean, when I repeated it, it sent shivers down my spine.
Well, that is a thing, right? When we look up to the beautiful stars and the moon. I saw a little child the other day. He was like maybe 2, and he said, "Mama, Mama, Mama." And then I'm like, what? And I'm walking by, and he says, "The moon, look, the moon." I thought it was also so beautiful, this connection. Marneta, so people can read Relax Kids, people can read your books, people can also be trained in your system. Teachers can use your books. I mean, it's quite the thing, right? So share with us how people can contact you for more information.
Yes. So the website is relaxkids.com. So you can go there, you can find out information about the books. There are audios, there are also some packs. There's an anger pack, anxiety pack, sleep pack if you have sleep issues. And then there are coaches around the country, around the world, but mainly in the UK. And then, of course, you can be trained, and you can find lots of information about the training there. So just relaxkids.com, and then the Monster book, and press here. And another book that I must just mention, which is beautiful, is called The Dream Machine, which there are 100,000 combinations of meditations in there. So what I've done is, it's like those books that we used to read as children, the adventure books where you turn to page 6 to go to the crystal cave, or turn to page 102 to go to the dungeon. I've done a meditation like this where they can it's unlimited, 100,000 different combinations, and the cycle is about 20 minutes. And they can do 20 minutes, or they can carry on. And that's The Dream Machine, and it's a beautiful book. They go through portals, and they meet people, they get gifts, and they go on magic carpets, and it's lovely.
Beautiful.
It's all about making meditation fun and creative. That is my way, because I feel that just sitting still can be too much for children.
Thank you, Marneta Viegas, so much for being with us here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, and helping our kids around the world, and of course, mothers, fathers, brothers, cousins, to all stay relaxed together. Bye-bye.